Hello everyone. Today we are going to Atlanta, a place that at least you once dreamed to wake up in, a place that have the infinity power source but doesn't have a payroll system. So we are here to complete Atlanta City. Today I am here to say that with the new payroll system, Odoo can make a custom payroll for any place, a custom payroll for any world, even the lost city, Atlanta City. So first, we need to collect the data about the Atlanta structure or the Atlanta payroll system. So what is the data we need to collect? We need to collect the data about their structure, the pay schedule. Do they pay their employees monthly or bi-monthly or weekly? The wage type, do they have fixed wages or hourly based wages? What are the rules of the payslip? Like they have taxes, and what are the work entries they work with? They work with original attendance, with unpaid time off, sick time off, and all the time off types. We need to collect data about the payslip inputs, like the recurring benefits. If their employee have a recurring benefit every month, if there is something like manual adjustment or special deductions that added to the payslip every month, and the last thing is the rule parameters. If there are limits on this recurring benefits, if there are different tax brackets that are dynamics with the dates, is there a minimum wage we should look for? And with all of this data, we can start building the localization we have. I have collected this data for the Atlanta, and Atlanta have a very simple payroll structure that we are now gonna create all this in less than 20 minutes. The payroll structure mainly had the three basic rules: the basic rule, the gross, and the net rule. They have an income tax, their social contribution. They have one recurring benefits, which is the representation fees. They have a manual adjustment they can add every month to their employees as a disciplinary deductions. And this recurring benefits originally is not taxed, but if it's reached a limit, we will add a tax on it. So we can do all this and put it in action in less than 20 minutes, and let's do this. Here I have my original Odoo with my Atlantis company with an empty payroll application. So first, we will go to the structure types to create our structure type, and we will call it TS employee. And this structure will be in Atlantis country. It's a fixed wage, and the schedule pay is monthly. And now we can save it and go to the structure, and we will call it TS regular pay, where the type is TS employee, the country is set, and the pay schedule is fetched manually, automatically from the type, and it's set to be a month. When we save, we have the basic three rules: the basic salary rule, which is the paid amount in the pay slip; the taxable salary rule, which will be the basic plus the taxed allowance; and the net salary rules, which will be the basic, the allowance, and the deduction we will add. For those basic three rules, they have a sequence, and the sequence is the order these salary rules are computed. So we first compute the basic salary, then we compute the taxable salary at 100, and then we compute the net salary at 200. So if we have any taxable allowances, we will add it with a sequence between 1 and 100. And if we have an untaxed, we will have it between 100 and 200. So it will be added after the taxes is calculated. So now we add the first salary rule, which is the tax and the social contribution for Atlantis. So I have some data ready here. The name of the rule is social contribution. The code of the rule is social tax. And we will add a sequence that exceeds the taxable salary. So we have the gross before we calculate the tax. So it will be 105. And then we will choose the category to be a deduction, because it's a tax. And now let's go to the conditions and computations for each salary. For this tax, we want the tax always to be there, and we will go for this, and this in the future salary rules. And for the computation, the tax rule is a percentage, and it's minus 50% from the gross. So to get the gross, we will have the category of the gross here in the base of the tax. And voila, we have our tax ready. And if we use this structure already, we will have the taxes applied to each employee in the company. But we need more. So now we will go to the disciplinary action input. Before adding this rule, we will add the other input type, which is the disciplinary action type. Sorry. So we will get the name of the input, the code of the input, and which structure this input is available, and our structure is TS regular pay. If we go back to the structure, we will see in the other input tab, we have the disciplinary action input. That means that we can use this input as the input in the payslip or in the employee adjustment. But it doesn't have a salary rule to reflect the amount we add, so we will add the salary rule for it. As this deduction is applied after the taxes has applied, so it will take a sequence after the social contribution. So it will be 115. We will add the same name and the same code for the other input, but it's not obligatory. We can add any name and any other code. The type will be a deduction. And here in the condition, we will be based on other input. So we will choose the other input we want, which is the disciplinary action. And we will get the value of this disciplinary action input as it is to put in the payslip. And here we have the other second salary rule. So let's now go to the recurring benefit. The recurring benefit is the representation fees we give our employee each month. So we will create a new rule, give it the name and code, and as this representation fees is not taxed, we want to be calculated after the tax is calculated, so we will give it a sequence of 120. So after you have your gross, we will calculate your tax, we will make a deduction, and we will add you an allowance. And the recurring benefits, we will choose a salary input. This salary input can be put on employee and payslip or only the employee. In the employee section, it will be added to the employee form as a dynamic input. When we open the employee now, we won't find it until we configure it. So we can configure as many rules as we want, and we configure the one we want in action, and if it's not in action anymore, we can remove it. And we will add this section that's called benefits, and this will be the header section on the employee form. We'll have the type monetary and a default value of 0. And we will save it for now. And here we have the representation fees rule. But now we know that this representation fees has a limit. If it exceeds the limit, this representation fees will be taxed. So this limit is dynamic and will change every year. To make this possible, we will use something called rule parameters. So we will go to the configuration and have our rule parameter. New rule parameter. And we will call name for the parameter, code, and we will have some history with values. So this parameter was 100 back in 2024, but it's updated to be 150 in 2025. And in 2026, if it's get updated again, we can add the new value here. After this parameter is set up, we can use it in the rules. So we will go to the structure and create a new rule for this tax. For the sequence, we need it to be more than the representation fees. to calculate the representation fees first and then to calculate its tax. So it will be 125. We will call it the representation fees tax, and we will add the code, and the type will be a deduction. And here we will use the Python expression. In the Python expressions, we have some available variables that we need to use, and we will return a true or false in the result variable to say that we want this salary rule or not. In our case, we want this salary rule when the result rule, which are the previous calculated rule of the representation fees total, exceeds the free limit. So we will take this and put it here. And for the computation, we will have the Python code also, and we have the same available variable, but we have different outputs. The outputs are the result, which is the amount of the rule, the result rate, which is a percentage that will be multiplied to this result to get the total amount of the line. And we can have a quantity and the name. And here we say that the total is the result times the rate times the quantity. For this, we have a result rate of minus 10%, which is the tax applied to the exceeding amount limit. And we fetch the tax-free limit from the rule parameters, and we set the result with the fees minus the free limit. So if you have the limit of 150 and you have a representation fees of 200, this exceeding 50 will be taxed at a 10%. So we will take this code, and place it here. We will save and save this. And here we have completed the whole structure, which is the payroll, the payslip template. We will just go the structure template and make sure that our structure is added as the default structure to be used on the employees. And now let's create an employee, and I will call him Mahmoud, and he will take and this is it. And he will take my mail. So for now, let's get to his personal information and set his bank account. He has this bank and he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A very intuitive bank account that is trusted and we can send money to. So in the payroll, we will make sure that he started first day of the month and he has a fixed wage with 350. He is an employee and his pay category is TS employee, the structure we have set. And now, if we go, there is no benefits yet in his form. But if we add an input, we will find the representation fees that we set up in the salary rule. We can check, select it, and it will be there under the benefits section. And we can give him 200 to exceed the free limit. Mahmoud is a new employee, but he is not a great employee. He has a disciplinary action deduction in his first month. So we will have it a negative value. Where is the disciplinary action? Let's make sure that our other input type here is available. Employees, Mahmoud. Woo. Here we have forgot to do a very important something. That's to check available in attachment and adjustment button. So now this is only available in the payslips input and can be done manually and can be done from the employee side. But if we check this and make save and go back to the employee, now it's here and available, the disciplinary action. It's a negative value of $50 and it will be a one-time deduction, and we will save it. And now for this employee, we will go to his work entries and check that his attendance is already created. But we know in Atlanta the unpaid leaves is not paid, and the sick leave also is not paid in the payslip, and it's paid from other organization. So we need to go to the structure and make sure to have the unpaid work entries type and add the lines for the unpaid and sick time off and save. If we go back to the work entries and get this 3 days to be replaced with a sick time off, and we replace, we will generate a pay run for this employee. And yeah, why? I think it's the only employee and new payslip, yeah. And now in the new payslip, we will have the sick time of 3 days, and he doesn't have any payment for them. He have the attendance for the other days and the property for it. He had a 350 fixed amount, but he had a 3 unpaid days. And in the salary input, we will find the disciplinary action in -50. And if we compute the sheet, yeah, sorry, we will need to go here. And for this employee that had the salary adjustment of disciplinary action -50, save. And here we will find that the basic salary, taxable salary, the social contribution is -50 on the amount of the taxable salary, and the representation fees is calculated, and the deduction is added also. But in this database, the rule parameter is set to 200. So if we get this to 150 and save, and go back to the payslip, and we try to compute his sheet again, we will see that a tax is added with a 10% on the exceeded 50, which is -5 in total. So here we have, in less than 20 minutes, all the payroll structure for a place that doesn't exist in reality. So any place that exists in reality and have rules, have the laws, we can expand them, we can search them, and we can create them in Odoo and create any custom structure until, and I think now we can add the questions. Yay, and this date. Let's go.
Okay. So we have a question here, but I believe this would be better answered by you directly in person.
Yeah,
so that will be it here. Where can we find you if we have more questions that we want to ask you?
If you have any other question about the payroll customization or the payroll in general, we are there in the HR and payroll booth. We want to see you there. Thank you, and bye-bye.
Thank you very much.